Well, I know you can hear me, but I can't get my mouse to work. There it goes. I was pressing fabric, starching it, and the condensation from the wool mat was making the laser on the mouse not work. And I'm like, come on, you can do it. Come on. And it was saying, no, no, I cannot. No, no, I cannot. So hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to be working on some quilts tonight. I am using my Friday nights as an opportunity to get caught up on projects that I know need to get done, rather than using them as an opportunity to always walk you through a project of your own. And so this is really just a place where we can come sit together, sew, chat, hang out, and you can bring a project that you need to get caught up on. Maybe it's the same one that I'm working on, maybe it's not. But before we get too far into the live stream, let's just check out that, oh, I gotta fix this. This is not right. Let's just move it over. There we go. Just like that. Hi, now that's better. We've got a comment from Pat Strawhouse that says, hey, Becca and all, will Mama Nancy be joining you tonight? I do not know if she'll be here on the chat with us or on the live stream with us tonight. We'll have to see. I haven't really heard from her today. She's not been feeling terribly up to sewing, so maybe, maybe not. Michelle Starr says, hello, Becca and everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Sophie was apparently asking if she was on, so Sophie said, let's see if I can make it past the first half hour. That's hilarious. We've got Math Geek in the chat. I see Linda McCarthy is here as well. Hello, Sophie Brettel. I'm checking for some more channel members so I can give you guys a lovely shout out. Mona Did What is here as well. Kathy Has Faith is here. We said hi to Math Geek. Marie H is here. Hello, hello, hello. I'm scrolling. Jill Chappell. Hello, Jill. Brenda Foley. Guess Who Nancy, or as I like to call her, Aunt Nancy Jean. So I am excited tonight. Christy Smith, she says, hello, my first time here. Hello, Christy. Welcome to the live stream. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Ellen says, I made it. Hi, Becca and everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Becky Spencer is here as well. Hello, Becky. Hello, hello, hello. Karen says, I just popped dinner into the oven and I spent the day at a quilt show. I'm tired now, but so inspired. Great. I'm glad you're inspired. Let's talk about the things that inspired me this week, and then we're going to get into a bit of sewing. So for those of you that maybe haven't figured this out, let me just preface the live stream by telling you, you are watching a live stream video or a live stream replay, depending on when you watch this. If you're watching it at 8 p.m., between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, May 31st, 2024, then you are watching this video live, or at least on a delay. You might be watching it behind the actual live. If you are watching it or have started it at any other point, then you are watching what is known as the replay, which means the live chat isn't really, you can watch the live chat, but you can only interact with me through comments. You can't interact with everybody else in the live chat. And I say all that because live streams and edited videos are different. Yes, they are different, and they are intended for different audiences. Some people find live streams to be not so entertaining or interesting because they kind of lull on and you don't have all the background stuff edited out. So I'm just letting you know. And the reason why I'm letting you know is because I actually got a couple of comments on the live streams that I did with Ian on Monday night that were like, this video took way too long. Well, it was a live stream. So if you're, just in case you don't know, you're watching a live stream replay. You probably already know that, or you're watching it live. Let's talk about what I have been doing this week. I am so excited because this week I have got my Fat Quarter Shop 2023 Designer Mystery Quilt, which is hanging up behind me, fully pieced. And that is a milestone for me because this is the first time I have ever had a Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery Quilt fully pieced before the next one started. I love the Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery Quilts. This is not sponsored. It's not. I pay for this block of the month every year, most every year. And I like to do them. And the reason why I like to do them is because I feel like the instructions are really easy to read. They're really easy to understand. You get an intricate quilt out of it, a good size quilt out of it, and the amount of extra fabric they give you is completely bananas. I'm going to show you all of that in just a couple of minutes. So the 2024 Designer Mystery Quilt will kick off in June. So I just finished this by the teeth of my nails, the hair, whatever. Last minute finish because today is May 31st and I literally put the final borders on it after work today. So I'm really excited about that. We've got a couple of comments in the chat that we're going to read out. Sarah Francis says, hello from Missouri. Your sewing studio is so organized. Thank you so much. Lori says, the quilt is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But also, the reason why I wanted to pin comments is because my friend Ian, if you don't already know, celebrated a birthday yesterday. So if you haven't had a chance to wish Ian a happy birthday, put some heart emojis in the chat for him. Let him know he's special and you love him. And then if you want to make him feel extra loved, don't forget to pop over to his channel, check it out, subscribe. And I think he's going to have a live stream on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so you can check that out as well. All right, I think I got all of the comments covered. So let's talk about the quilt hanging up behind me before I dive into what I think I'm going to start tonight. We're going to talk about the Fat Quarter Shop 2023 Designer Mystery Quilt. And in order to do that, I want to go over to the Facebook group because I did post a couple of pictures in there and I want to show you what the quilt looks like because you can only see part of it behind me. She's a beast. She's as tall as, actually just a little bit taller than my bookshelves, just by a couple of inches. So I'm going to head over to, where did it go? Here it is. All right. I am headed over to the Facebook group really quick so I can show you what this looks like. There we go. Okay, good, 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 good. So here is the picture of the quilt that I posted. Now, my room is garage size. Yeah, I don't know how tall my ceilings are, but I believe those are, I want to say my bookshelves are 9 feet tall. And that quilt is clipped to the top of my Billy bookcases. I don't remember the exact height, but I know when they are this high, they're between 80 and 90, closer to 90 inches when it hits the top like that. So, oh, actually, you know what? I do have the exact measurements of what this is finishing at because I have the pattern right here. 72 inches wide by 93.5 inches long. So I was telling you, it's 90 inches. So do the math, whatever feet that works out to be. This is what the quilt looks like. And I have got a ton of extra fabric left over. But before I show you that, I want to give you a slow pan of this quilt from the top to the bottom. And yes, by the way, those are New Kids on the Block dolls on the top. Don't hate. So we're just going to slowly pan so you can see all of these blocks. Now, if you were here on Memorial Day, I was working on this quilt when I was on a live with Ian. And one of you, and gosh, I don't remember who it was, but one of you had pointed out that one of my blocks, it's actually the one in the upper left-hand position that you see right here, actually had the half square triangle units that were going around the block turned the wrong way. So the blue on those half square triangle units was pointed in the wrong direction. Everything, all other 11 blocks were completely fine. And a couple of folks were like, just leave it, it's a happy accident. But I couldn't, because I knew that the way those half square triangle units were going to lay out was going to create that secondary pattern. And had I left them turned incorrectly, then the secondary pattern for the entire quilt would have been thrown off, and that's all you ever would have seen. So as much as it was a pain in my katukas, Becca on Monday didn't love the idea that I had to fix the block, but Becca on Friday, where the quilt is fully pieced, loves that I fix the block. So sometimes those happy accidents you can totally leave in there. Had I messed it up on more than one, I probably would have left it. Maybe if I would have messed up like 3 or 4, I would have left it. But because I only messed up one of them, I did go back and fix it. So that is what the quilt looks like. Now, I do know some folks have gone in and made modifications to this with their extra fabric, which again, we're going to talk about in just a moment. And I got to tell you, I think I like the way those worked. I really like the finishing setting for each of these blocks, but that secondary pattern that's coming out draws my eye more to the secondary pattern than it does the star blocks. And I feel like had I put some distance and just on regular sashing around each of those, I probably would have liked that a little bit more. You can see where my mouse is right here. I'm pointing at these hourglass blocks that have like this little diamond in between here. This is your vertical sashing, and this is your horizontal sashing. I think I would have liked to make that just the solid blue as the background and done over here some sort of a secondary block, that maybe like a little star block. That would have been really cool. I've also seen some folks take this pattern and just added smaller versions of all these blocks onto the left and the right sides of the quilt, which give it a little bit more width so that it'll definitely fit on a queen bed. All of those are totally appropriate. You can do whatever you want to do. I love the way this turned out, and I feel like, you let me know which one you like, but I feel like my favorite block in this entire quilt is probably this one right here, the third one down in the left position. I love the dimension that this block has with the 2 different tones of that red, pink, dusty, corally color. That one's just great. Now, I've been talking about the scraps and I haven't shown you, and I can't see the comments just yet because I'm looking at Facebook, but I'm coming back to the comments in just a moment. But I want to show you what I mean by a redonkulous amount of leftover fabric. This is my redonkulous amount of leftover fabric. In fact, I am going to come back over to my camera and I'm going to show you the box that has all of the scrap fabric left in it. This box is hefty. It's about 15 by 15-ish, maybe a little bit bigger than that. I don't know. It's not quite 17 inches by 17 inches, which is the size of the block. It's a nice box. It's magnetic closure. It's hefty. It's really great. But take a look at this, you guys. Oh my goodness. Now, I did take the time, anytime I did a stitch and flip, to do a second line of stitching, and I saved all of these half square triangle units. All of them I saved. Some of them have some quarter square triangles on them, right? And some of them are just straight up half square triangle units. These are all very good size, so you could take the time to iron these open, square them up. It might take you a while to do, but you totally could, and you could probably make an entire project out of just these. In fact, I'd love to see what I could do with this. If I take that aside, everything else that's left in here is the fabric that was left over from each month. And you can see some of these pieces are a little smaller, but some of them are pretty generous. Like, I could do so much with this fabric. And I've just got piles and stacks of all of it. I mean, look how big of a chunk I have left over of this, right? And this is with the fabric. That's like, this is yardage. This is not scrap. This is yardage. So, anywho, I wanted you to understand that because I think they still have some of the 2024 Designer Mystery kits. You might still be able to get in on that. I don't know. I just want you to be aware of what you're getting yourself into should you decide to sign up. It is a pricey kit. It is it is affordable every month. But when you take that and multiply the 20 some dollars, I think it's like 21 or $22 with the shipping and everything, when you multiply that over 4 months, you're paying almost $500 for the quilt kit, but look at everything you get. Now, when you do, oh, and that's before your finishing kit, so that is an added expense. Okay, I think I've done enough advertising for Fat Quarter Shop here. Kelly Moiter is letting us know, oh, I did a thing this week. Thanks to my Zoom roomies last week, I subscribed to the Fat Quarter Shop subscription and was going to buy the kit for the basket block of the month, but they didn't have any left. If you go on Fat Quarter Shop, Kelly, they do have a list of what your fabric requirements are. And so you can source that fabric from other quilt shops. Etsy has a lot of small mom and pop quilt shops that might have a lot of that fabric left. You might have to buy from a few different stores on Etsy, but that's one way you can get that fabric. The other thing that you can do is they show you not just the SKU numbers of the fabric, but the colors of each of the fabrics that they need you to have along with the yardage. And so you can source fabric that's in the same color family and put together a quilt that looks very similar, but has your own personal flair to it if you'd like. So. All right, we've got lots of people wishing Ian a happy birthday. Awesome. Zaza says it was definitely worth the time to fix that mistake with the top left block. That mistake would have bugged the living daylights out of you. The quilt looks great. Love the blue background fabric. My new car is a similar color and it's called Fjord Blue. Awesome. Awesome. And then I feel like I just passed a comment that somebody was trying to tag me in. Oh, so with Debbie says, Becca, I have a border idea that would use up your scraps, or you can just send them to me. Bill said, dang, that's a lot of scraps. Make a whole nother quilt. You absolutely could. You absolutely could. Before we jump into tonight, I do want to talk a little bit about cotton cuts, because if you have not been paying attention, Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt launched today. Public sign up is open today. Returning detectives were able to sign up yesterday. I am not doing this puzzle mystery quilt, but I am watching and enjoying it from the sidelines. My friend Ian is, and he is doing the colorway Calamity. So he's going to do the large tutorials on his channel, just like he always has, for the large size. His instructions will work for every single colorway that you get, as long as you're doing it large size. If you have questions about the small, if you're doing the small and you have questions, he's absolutely willing to help you, but he is not putting together small tutorials. If you want to use his code, Cotton Cuts is not doing the affiliate links anymore, from what I understand, at least not this time around. They're back to the old sign-up method. You just provide your code. So I would ask for you, maybe as a birthday gift, if you choose to sign up for the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt, you can use his code. It's Ian West. And I believe there are a number of other ambassadors out there that are doing it again this time around. And so if you want to support one of them, it's going to be whatever their first name is and then the word West, all one word. So there you go. There you go. There you go. All right. Janny says, I'm planning to use the leftovers to finish the 3" by 6" that I made. I actually want to do that too as well. So, yeah. I was thinking about that, but I was thinking about putting that in a smaller quilt. So I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat and getting a little distracted at what I want to say, because input and output at the same time can be a bit much. So what am I going to work on tonight? Well, I have been saying that I want to work on my Designer Mystery 2022 block of the month. So I actually had not signed up for the 2022 Designer Mystery Quilt. But then I was jonesing over the Nantucket fabric from Camille Ross Kelly. That was the first line that she put together. Excuse me. It was the first line that she put together after her mom retired. So it used to be Bonnie and Camille. Now it's Camille Ross Kelly. So I saw the fabric while I was on retreat a couple of years ago. I think it was 2022, so 2 years ago. And we were in a quilt shop, and I saw one of the kits for one of the kits that she did with this line, that Camille Ross Kelly did with the line. And I picked it up because I wanted to make a quilt with that kit or with that fabric. Now, one of the things that I've been trying to do over the past couple years, it's not been a terribly long thing. I am the type of person that when I'm done making a quilt, I'm kind of done working with that fabric unless it is a fabric that I love. One of the things that inspires me is just the fabric that I'm working with and playing with. And so sometimes the way I get a palette refresher or cleanser is when I switch fabric and go on to something else. But every once in a while, I'll see a fabric line that I'm like, ooh, I want to make all the things with that one fabric line. And that has happened. When I bought that quilt kit, my friend Karen was kind of anxious to get her hands started on it, and it was the last one they had in the store. So we made a swap. She said, listen, I don't have all of my block of the months yet for the Designer Mystery quilt, but it's using that fabric. Would you give me that kit and I will give you my Designer Mystery quilt? Listen, you do the math. $150, $200, it was less than $200, but it was probably like $150 for that boxed kit from Moda at the store, or $20 a month every month for 12 months. I definitely came out of the better end of that deal. So she gave me the 2022 Designer Mystery quilt. It's been sitting here, not started for a while, and I've told myself once 2023 is done, I'm going to go right into 2022 because I want to get this one sewed up as well. So that's what I pulled out tonight. I've got the pattern for month number 1. You can't get this anymore. It is done. It's kaput. It's over. And I don't even think you can buy the patterns once the Designer Mystery quilt is over. Like, it's done. It's donezo. Done. I have all of my fabric starched, so I'm just going to start cutting my fabric and sewing it together, and we'll see if we get my block made before the end of the live stream. All right. I wonder if there's a way to make the font just a little bit smaller so that I can see more. Oh, okay. It gets bigger the wider I make it. Interesting. Didn't know that. Okay. Good to know. I'm just going to put it back over here and we're going to leave it alone. All right. Yeah. I'm checking out in the chat before I go to the 3 camera view. Yeah. I don't think, Mary, that that is the actual, I don't think that that's my affiliate link for the 2024 Designer Mystery quilt. It looks like it's just a search result, doesn't have my cookie in the title. So what I will tell you guys to do, if you want to get the 2024 Designer Mystery quilt from Fat Quarter Shop, I do have a Fat Quarter Shop affiliate link. You can do !FQS in the chat to get it. It's also in the description box. You can just click on that link. It'll take you right to Fat Quarter Shop's website. Or you can go to my homepage, it's there as well. Or if you want a link directly to the 2024 Designer Mystery Quilt Kit, email me, Becca@sewbecca.com, and I will give you a direct affiliate link directly to that project. I will get a small commission off of your cart total, which would be really nice. It would help me out. So let's get started on our cutting, and we'll go over to the 3 camera setup. Anna says, I have been watching you for quite a while. I finally found a way to send a message. I've enjoyed your programming. Your mom's a hoot. Gotta love her. I'm sure she would love to hear that. I don't know where she is today. I feel like after the live stream's over, I might have to go downstairs and sit down with her for a little bit. All right, let's get all of my fabric laid out. Everything is starched and pressed. So I'm just gonna pull out my pattern and start cutting it up. Yeah, Mary, if you use the link from my website and then searched for it, that's not going to give them the token for my affiliate link. They have to, that created a cookie on your computer, not theirs. So I'll have to show you how to get those affiliate links because you have to do it from Share a Sale. You can't do it that way. We'll talk later. I'll show you later. But thank you for helping. I do appreciate that. Okay. I'm not going to give you guys the cutting instructions, though I feel like since this is all done and over with, this is like 2 years old, maybe I could, but I won't because I don't want to upset the folks over at Fat Quarter Shop. That wouldn't be right. But, you know how it goes. Okay. I'm just pushing that out of the way so that I can see what I'm cutting. So this is going to be my fabric A and B. Sir, I will show you what I do when I cut. I'm looking at what the cutting instructions are in my pattern. I've got my fabric folded in half, just like this, and they're about the same size. They're just a little bit different. So I'm going to take the bigger of the two sizes and use that to cut a strip of this fabric. Again, they give you so much extra that you're going to be totally fine. This is going to be extra, I believe. We'll find out. Now I'm just going to flip this over and straighten up that edge over here. Hello, Donna. Donna returns to her Friday night live stream. Ooh, Shelly just got invited to a happy hour. Enjoy that happy hour, Shelly. Donna, I believe, returns to her Friday night live streams next week on Friday night, and she'll have a special guest on the airwaves with her. Karen Brown from Just Get It Done Quilts is going to join her for her return to Friday night. So make sure you are subscribed to Donna's channel, and you pop over here next Friday because our after party will be at Donna's channel. Okay, so I cut out a bigger piece and now I'm squaring down to what I want. Oh, you can buy it. Okay, awesome. Kelly Hutchins says you can still buy the 2022 patterns. Awesome. I am doing month number 1. So if you want to buy these, you can use my affiliate link in the description box down below to pop over to the Fat Quarter Shop website and you can buy the pattern. I don't know what the patterns sell for, but I will get a small commission off of your cart. Looks like you might even be able to buy your finishing kit. That's what she said. All right, so that's fabric A. And for fabric B, I need to cut one piece out of this. And then Donna, are you planning to do a 9 a.m. live stream on your channel this Sunday as well? Let the people know. Ah, okay. Dragonflies for Donna says the 2022 pattern set is available on Fat Quarter Shop and the finishing pattern is sold separately. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So it's not one individual pattern, it's all of it. Okay, so now that I've cut out the only pieces that I'll need, do you see what I mean by OMG, this is crazy? This is all of my extra. Let me open it up. Like, this is my scrap fabric for month 1. Heck yeah, every day and twice on Sunday. I will take it. I will take it. So I'm just going to fold that up neatly and set it aside. We're all done cutting from that. Now I'm going to move on to my fabric C and D and cut those out. So from this, we're going to cut 4 of the first piece. So I think I'm going to, yeah, we're going to do it this way. We're going to cut big and then go down because I got plenty of room. $59.98, Kathy Hutchins says, for all 12 patterns. That is not including the finishing pattern, by the way, which is probably another $10 or so. But you don't have to put it into the same finishing layout. You can do it differently. Got it. Donna says, I sure am going live on Sunday morning. I'll be working on my Nyla jacket by So Creative Lounge. Awesome. So Exclamation Ying will take you over to her channel. At 9 a.m. Eastern time, she'll be live. Absolutely. The quilting compound says they give plenty of fabric for sure. Yes, they do. I've been burned by a couple block of the months where they didn't give you enough fabric. And no, it wasn't cotton cuts, just because I know cotton cuts is on everybody's mind. It was actually a local quilt shop here. I was shorted, and then when I went and asked questions about it, they basically looked at me like I didn't know how to cut fabric. And I was like, oh, but okay. The lady that gave me a hard time about it no longer works at that quilt shop. So there's that. How's the video and the audio and all of the tech working out tonight? Because I am using some new software to power the live stream, and I'm just kind of curious how it's playing out for you. Does everything look okay? Okay, I can't quite get that out of there. We're going to use that as a scrap. And then here, yeah, we can do this. The neat thing about this is that because they give you such generous amount of fabric, if you decide you want to fussy cut your fabric a certain kind of way, you absolutely can. Don't feel bad about fussy cutting the heck out of your fabric. I'm sure there are limitations. Christy Smith says, how is the little white knob attached to the ruler? So this is just a suction cup. It came from Quilters Select. I do have some other handles that are attached with magnets, but the magnets are not strong enough to lift this ruler up. So they came from Purple Hobbies. Purple Hobbies makes them. I do like those, but I just wish the magnets were just a little bit stronger. So this is just a suction cup, just like a pop cap. The only problem with this, twofold. Every so often it does come off of the ruler, so I have to get it wet, put it back on here. And then the other thing is this eventually does twist out because it's just a screw. And just from handling the ruler, I feel like I sometimes turn it counterclockwise, but it just goes right back in. So if I ever feel like it's getting a little bit loosey-goosey, I just give it a couple of twists to make sure it's down on there really good. I think it was a Quilter Select brand knob too, so. All right, so that is fabric C and D. Now I'm going to get fabric E, which is my green fabric, and we're going to cut 4 squares. Let me see. Can I get it this way? Yes, I can. This is all the fabric that I'm going to need off of fabric E. This is scrap. I think I heard somebody say, or read, I should say read. I read somebody say that Fat Quarter Shop mentioned, what is her name? Goodness, why can I not think of Kimberly Jolly's name? Kimberly Jolly mentioned that the smallest piece of fabric they will ever cut for a block of the month is 10 inches squared. So that is kind of like their fragment piece. And all I need are 4 squares that are 2.5 inches. So yeah. Definitely have enough fabric here. But if you think about it, right, it kind of makes sense for companies like Legit Kits and Fat Quarter Shop and Cotton Cuts or whoever else is, or Stitch in Heaven, anybody that's doing a block of the month where they're sending you the kit, it makes sense for them to figure out the cuts that they're always going to use and then streamline their cutting so that they're always cutting those sizes and then puzzling out however many pieces you got to get out of that size, right? And if it's tight, just stepping it up a notch. Not only does it do wonders for your customer service because people are going to be really excited when they get extra fabric with their block of the month, but it'll also make sure that people new sewers, new quilters will be able to recover from mistakes, or advanced quilters that make mistakes, because we all make mistakes, right? And it saves them time. Saves them time and money for just the cost of a little bit of extra fabric. Saves them customer service hours. Potentially, it saves them hours cutting, packaging, sorting. I think it's genius. All right, that's fabric E. Now I'm going to do fabric F and G, which is this one. Now, before I cut into this, this is a directional fabric. Lisa is saying, I like the ruler you are using. I tried one and want to add more. I see that your mat is from the same company. Does it have the same texture of non-slip? The mat does not. This is just a mat. And honestly, the only reason why I'm using this mat is because it's a 12 by 18 and I can put it up here. I do have an 18 by 24 mat that fits this space perfectly, but it's getting chewed up and it's time to replace it. That's the only bad thing about mats is I don't care who you are. Mats have a lifespan. Some of them might be longer than others, but they eventually do run out and it's time to replace them. One of the things that can help your mat go a little bit longer, by the way, is your rotary blade. Make sure that you're always using a good sharp blade, because when it gets dull, that's where a lot of the damage can come in. But the back side of this Quilter Select ruler has a grippy stuff on here. It's not on the mat, it's just on the ruler. So this will work with any mat I use. And check this out. I'm going to put it down on the fabric and I'm going to move the fabric and it's going to pull the ruler with me. Like, it's not budging. Again, if I put the ruler on top of the fabric and I move the ruler around, well, the mat's moving, but let me hold the mat in place. Do you see, like, fabric doesn't, like, it stays with the fabric. So the only thing that has a better grip than this are Fallon's rulers, just so you know. All right, so I'm going to take a look at my pattern before I cut this. So I like to take the extra time to cut my directional fabric so that it looks pretty. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to. So there you go. I'm noticing that the stripes, they have their stripes all going in. You don't have to do that. You can make them all go different ways, but I do want to make sure that they're all kind of going in. So I'm probably going to have to use up a bit more of this fabric than what the pattern says. I'm going to go ahead and cut what it says to cut. 4.5. And then if I have to cut in here to fix some things, I will. Want to try to get them all going the same way. And I think I might be okay, because this is one of those fabrics where it's only going one direction. It's not like it's like a semi-directional. It's not a true directional where this is the top. This could be the top or this could be the top. Does that make sense? I think so. I think we might be okay, but we'll find out. Sometimes I don't find out that I'm okay with directional fabric until I actually get to the point where the fabrics are actually being sewn together. So you will find out as I do. How does that sound? Carolyn Wilson says, I got my sewing machine out of my spa and brought it home. Awesome. Yeah, the little suction cup is a game changer, isn't it? It is absolutely a game changer. Kate says, the stripes always have to go the same way for me too. Yeah. You know, if you take that little bit of extra time, it can be a game changer. Oh, was that 10? I didn't need it to be 10. I needed it to be 9. Okay, well, that's fine. Not like I don't have enough of this fabric. Okay, I needed 4 of these, and now I need 4 of these. There we go. Zoe Terry says that she is making quilted postcards tonight for some dear friends and listening while she does so. Awesome. Hello, Lorianne. That was a very weird noise. It sounded like something clinkety-clanked. Like somebody dropped something outside, but it's dark and I can't see outside, so. All right, we're gonna cut these at 2.5 inches squared. Sylvia Merritt says, hello from NY country. Is that New York country? Is that what you mean? All right. Oh, I only needed, no, I did need 8. Good. I'm going to be like, oh man, I only needed 4. What company is your ruler from? Becky Spencer is asking. This is Quilter Select. This is what the ruler looks like. And if you're curious, it is an 8.5 by 12 inch ruler. This is my go-to for just about everything. Honestly, these two things I can use, I can do just about everything I need to do with the 12 by 18 mat and the 8.5 by 12 inch ruler. I would prefer an 18 by 24 inch mat, but this is what I've got to work with because I did not want to spend the extra money on a bigger mat. This is very portable for me, so that works. All right, I have one more fabric to cut. Jen Gamble says, Becca, if you would have done the Wild West with cotton cuts, which colorway would have been your favorite? Ooh, yeah, there were several out there. I don't know. And I don't know if they added any new. Let me take a peek. In fact, let's do that together really quick. Let's see what's out there on cotton cuts. And we're going to go to the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, get started. I will come over to the Sew and Tell. There we go. So the colorways that they have, let me just take a peek and see what's still out there. In case you're curious, the small is going to finish at 48 inches by 60 inches and will cost $20.25 a month. The large will be 72 by 72 and cost $30.50 a month. And by the way, if you are budget conscious, you could always do the 48 by 60 and just add an optional border or something on your own. Okay, so here are, oh, also the Oops kits will get you a fat 1/8 of every color in the colorway. Okay. Wow, Dusty Rose is sold out already. I do like Wrangler. I mean, that feels very much kind of like the quilt that's hanging up behind me, all the blues. I do like that one. So Wrangler's one I would maybe consider. I would not have done Bluebell because that feels very similar to the one that I did for Carnival, and I would have wanted to do something different. Calamity's okay, but I feel like I heard the way the color wheels work is in the lower position. This one in the 6 o'clock position is your binding. And then going clockwise, starting to the left. So this green would have been fabric A. So B, C, D is the red, E, and F. And I think I heard Kim say that D and F were the most prominent colors in the quilt. And I've seen that red and blue and grunge next to each other before, and my eye wasn't a fan of it. So I kind of backed away from it for that reason, because I didn't know how the red and the blue would lay out next to each other. Plus, I was pretty sure Ian was going to take that one. So if I would have done it, it wouldn't have been that one. Saloon, I probably would not have done, like I would have leaned towards it because it's batiks, but there wasn't a lot of contrast in those purples. And I would want a lot of contrast. So far, I would have been looking at Wrangler, those blues. I definitely did like the Crimson Canyon. I kind of liked the grays with the pops of red. I felt like that could be a really nice, subdued, kind of chic Christmas holiday quilt without being Christmassy. It could have sat out all year round. So I liked that one. So Wrangler and Crimson Canyon. And then I will say both Josie and Delilah, the color palettes there, I really liked. But I wasn't sure that I loved the fabrics, like the prints, but I loved the color palettes. Yeah. So it would have been one of those four. With the top two, it would have been Crimson Canyon or Wrangler. I hope that answered your question. All right. I have got to cut from this last fabric some more 2.5-inch squares. So we're going to do this really quick, and then I'm going to get to the sewing. Hello, Tony. The Squirrely Quilter says, I watched the Cut and Cuts video. You are correct about the two prominent colors. Awesome. Sun Country Designs, I believe that's Vicky, says she likes Ghost Town and Delilah. See, when I hear Delilah, I just keep thinking of the radio show in the 90s and the 80s that you would listen to, where Delilah. If you know, you know. Joan says, our daughter dropped their dogs off because our other daughter's dogs don't like these two. They just left. What are you working on? I am working on month number 1 for the 2022 Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery Quilt. I'm finishing coloring up. Tiny Talkie Tina says, can we see them all done up in the color palette? No, not until the end. So the way the Cut and Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt works is at the end of the entire program in month 10, because it is a 10-month block of the month. It is a die cut block of the month. So they cut with a die cutter your pieces and send you pre-cut die cut pieces so you can just sit and sew. You do that for 9 months. And then in month 10, you get to see what the quilt looks like. So you're entering into this not knowing what any of the blocks are going to look like, how the fabrics are going to lay out together, nothing. You just are going to work on die cut pieces until the very end. Vicky says, I don't like the names. And yes, I'm Vicky. That's okay, because the name doesn't really matter. It's the fabric that you have to love, right? Samantha wants to know, where is Mama? Sitting downstairs. She's not been feeling terribly well. She's been having some stomach issues, and she's just been kind of like, she came upstairs last night and we hung out for a little while. I haven't seen her much of today. I did get to work from home today. Usually work from home on Fridays, so that's nice. I did get to work from home today, but I've been so super busy with work that I literally finished work. I put the last borders on that quilt, made myself dinner, and then came in here and got set up ready to go for the live stream. So I haven't even really seen her. I think I need to pay Mom a visit. I do know she's alive. Like, before anybody's worried. But she didn't even come up for dinner. So I think she's just kind of like, meh. Jewel says she loves the fabric that I'm using. Ooh, Loretta says Delilah still plays. You lying, Delilah. I haven't heard that show in a minute. I haven't listened to radio in a minute. Quilt Song says, I hear Delilah and think Tom Jones. How's that for old? All right, let's get this keyboard out of the way because we're not. Boop. I literally made myself a cup of ice water. Can you get my cup of ice water, my tumbler? It's in the kitchen. I left it out there. And he just happened to walk into the laundry room, so we'll let my husband get it for me, shall we? Okay. All right, so we're going to start off with our fabric A, which is, okay, 2 of these. And we're going to cut them both on the diagonal. And then fabric C, we're going to cut these on the diagonal too. 1. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick. It says to cut in the diagonal just once. Yeah, the handle one. Thank you. Zoe's got something going on with her throat. I think it's just a cold, and sinus drainage has caused her throat to be a little sore. And so I made her a bottle of water and my other water bottle, and he wasn't sure which one was mine, so he held them both up. He was like, "Which one?" I was like, "That one without the germs." Beth's Raggedy Attic Prims said, "Where did you get the knob on your ruler?" Quilter Select. I actually got it from Five Little Monkeys, Quilting and Sewing, when I was at QuiltCon in Atlanta. But you can get them most places that sell Quilter Select rulers. But honestly, just any sort of suction cup handle will work. That's all this is. It's just a knob with a suction cup on it. Why am I being told to check sound? Your sound just went down. Okay. I can't do anything about it with this software. Can somebody please let me know if it's good now? That Quarter Shop has the knobs for the ruler? Awesome. I have sound. Sound is good. Okay. When I turn this way, you're not going to hear me because the microphone's right here and it's designed to pick up what's coming out of my mouth here, right? So as long as I am looking forward, everything's good. But if I turn over here, I'm not going to sound as close to the microphone because the sound's going this way and the microphone's right here. So that just how it works. Maybe that's what you heard. I'm not sure. Everybody else is saying it's never. Okay, cool. Pam, I can't pronounce your last name, but I see her. She says, "Does the 2022 block of the month for $59 include fabric and pattern? If so, what a deal." No, it's just the patterns. Just the patterns. All right. Now we should have 8 of those. Cool. Let's get to sewing. Okay. We're going to make 4 of this unit. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4, lay them here. And now these we're going to frame out this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We should be very used to doing something like this because we've done this a million times with cotton cuts. Where we take the triangles and sew them to a square. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. All right, but it does say, I just want to check the instructions. Okay, so when I press this, we're going to press the fabric to here, and then on the other side, we're going to put this, and then we're going to press up under here. So don't have to press open or anything special, which is cool with me. Just going to set this over here. We're going to get to the sewing. No, 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 yes. Oh, listen. Every time I hear somebody say the no, 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 yes, 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 like I don't remember what movie it was, but I'm sure somebody in here will know. Was it Singing in the Rain? I don't know. I feel like there was a lineup of people and they were like, no, 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 yes. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. I am starting a new thing where I am backstitching at the start and end of all of my seams, particularly the ones that are going into the block, not the ones that like half square triangle units where I'm going to have to square them up, because, and I'll tell you why, the quilt that's hanging up behind me, do you know how many times I had to go back and restitch a seam because just a few stitches on the end popped and it would have left a hole in the quilt? Yeah, I'm tired of doing that. So because I'm tired of doing that, I am taking to back stitching at the start and end of my seams by 2 or 3, sometimes 4 stitches, so that I have that extra security in my seam and I don't have to worry about it popping. There's Mom. Thank you, Mom, for jumping in. She says, for those of you wondering, I am just fine. I'm just not feeling very social today. She will be social for me, but I think she's just not feeling up to entertaining everybody on the YouTubes today. So, Singing in the Rain, it was Singing in the Rain. Oh, History of the World. It was History of the World. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, so there's one. And now I'm going to do that for the other 2. It was History of the World because it was the queen that did it, or it was a female. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dot says, I was just restitching seams today, Becca. It was driving me crazy. I know. I was like, see, I took a shortcut to not do that, and now I've got to refinagle the quilt back under the machine, and it's not. Yes, I probably did save time, but the frustration that came with it just wasn't worth it. So we're going to try this new thing where I backstitch at the start and end of a seam. Oh. Carla says, Becca and friends, did you see Zach's new tutorial that came out today on Sew? Yeah, very cool block, makes an even cooler quilt. Zach gives lots of options for creating different looks with different colors. No, I didn't. I've been really busy at work, so my YouTube consumption has been lower than normal. Sometimes I'll listen to videos at work, but like when I'm just working on things. But so much of my workday nowadays is literally just meeting and phone calls and talking to people nonstop, which does not really allow for one to listen to anything, not the news, not the YouTube, not nothing. So I'm so far behind. Does your machine have a setting that will automatically backstitch when you start? My Baby Lock does. My Baby Lock does too. My Juki does not. My Juki is not a computerized machine. It is fully mechanical. Donna says, I did that today, and from now on, I will backstitch every seam I sew. Yes, she was choosing the escorts. That's right, Tanya. That's right. Ooh, Marty Brown says, I just ordered the FQ Quilt Electric for me. So excited. Awesome. Hope you enjoy that. Dale is saying I need to check out, the video that Zach did. It's fantastic. Linda says, Sharon, we can use the rain in Kansas City. I'm sorry to hear about your hurricane season. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your hurricane season too. All right. Now I'm going to press these. I've been finger pressing them as I go. Move my water out of the way. And if you see the straw turn red when I drink, it's because it's Crystal Light. It's the sugar-free fruit punch Crystal Light. It seems to be a favorite in my house. Sophie said, backstitching is something I always do when I'm clothes sewing. Awesome. I don't do close sewing. So there's that. But it is a lesson I am learning is important to quilting. Amanda Stebner says, my everyday sewing machine is a 1927 Singer 66. I miss backstitching. LOL. Awesome. Lily says, I'm considering an embroidery machine. What are the pluses and minuses of embroidery only machine versus embroidery and sewing machine? Somebody else in the chat can answer that one. Give your 2 cents. I don't own one, so couldn't tell you. I think embroidery only machines, the drawback is all you're ever going to be able to do on it is embroidery, but it's going to do that one thing really well. Just like a straight stitch machine. It does one thing really well, and that's all it does. Pam says, I always backstitch on all of my seams. It's totally worth it. I think it is a habit that I had from making clothing. You'll be glad that you did it. I'm start like the muscle memory. All it takes is just to get the muscle memory there. So, yeah. Waiting for the iron. There it goes. There's the iron. I'll just set the hot iron on these seams to get them nice and flat. So Terry is telling Amanda that you can manually back tack on a 66. I have one. All right, now we're going to put these together with the other triangle units. I'm just going to move this over here so I have pressing and cutting. Okay, here's something that I'm going to think through for just a minute. All right, when I put these together, I don't want to lose this point. So what I'm going to do, I know these are going to have me square them up because that's how Fat Quarter Shop does their half square triangle units. They make them bigger and then square them down. So I'm going to pair them up, making sure that my corners are lined up-ish. If it's off a little bit, I'm not going to overly worry about it because I know I'm going to end up squaring these down. These should be approximately the same size. And I'm just going to lay them all right side together, making sure that all of the raw edges, all 3 sides of these triangles are kind of lined up for the most part. If they're off by just a couple of threads, you should be okay. But the more precise, the better you're going to be. Just scratching them into place with my fingernails. There we go. That'll work. Oh, make sure I'm putting right side up. Yes, this tone-on-tone fabric. I did not do it with this one. The tone-on-tone fabric can be a little difficult. Don't forget, guys, if you have a YouTube channel and you would like to promote it, !selfie in the chat will drop a link for others to check out your content. So if you would like to promote yourself tonight, feel free to do so with !selfie. Okay, just like that. Scratch that into place. There we go. All right, so what I did is I took the time to line everything up, and I'm going to sew it with the pieced triangle on top, because then I can see, if you look over here at the needle with me, I'll be able to see this X intersection. Let me show you on camera right here. This X intersection where those threads come into play, if I stay just one thread to the right of that when I'm sewing along the seam, then I'm not going to lose this point when I flip it open. So I'm going to sew with this piece up, rethread my needle, came unthreaded. I'm going to sew with this piece up so that I can keep an eye on that. And again, I am going to backstitch several stitches on this one because I know I'm going to have to square this down. Ooh, that got a little wonky at the end there. Does it still lay open the right way? No, I literally veered way off. It went, "Rah!" I'll just rip that out and redo it. The only bad thing about back stitching is when you have to rip those couple of stitches, it can be a little difficult, but hopefully you're not spending much time with the seam ripper popping stitches, right? And of course I'm using a cream colored thread on low volume fabric, so that was a little difficult to see, but we got it in the end. We got it in the end. Pull these threads out of the way. Come on. There we go. Then. Okay. That should work. Let me make sure. Yeah, that does. Okay, cool. There we go. All right. And then this wanted us to press it up towards the solid triangle, not the pieced one. So I'm just going to roll the seam over first with my hands, smooth it down, give it a finger crease, and then I'll hit it with an iron. L.A. Dreams, Lorianne says, I just bought some of the diagonal seam tape. How do you like it, Becca? It's okay. It's okay. I feel like I can get the same results from just making a mark on the bed of my machine, like a permanent mark that's coming straight out from where the needle is. I don't hate it, but it is a washi tape. It does lift up frequently, so you do have to replace it periodically. It's going to be prone to peeling and wear and tear. But when you use it, it does save you from having to mark your fabric. And that is exactly what's intended for. And honestly, that roll that you get is going to last you forever. So. Okay. Sophie Bertel says, lovely to be here with everyone on the live, but it's 2 a.m. and bed is calling. Enjoy the rest of the evening and good night. Good night. I have toothpaste on my arm. How did that happen? Minty. All right. These need to be squared up. Actually, we're just going to keep doing it this way. It's easier. These need to be squared up to, okay, 4.5. So here's how I'm going to square them up. I'm going to lay the square down. I'm going to find the 45-degree line on my ruler and put it on top of this seam. And then it's 4.5 inches, which means the halfway point is 2.25. And so what I'm looking for is this right here. This should be 2.25 over. Well, yeah, this should be 2.25 over from the left and up from the bottom. Really? Okay, I lie. I lied. I lied. I was being a little cocky because I thought for sure that we are going to square this down, but that is indeed not what we are doing. Fat Quarter Shop, you ruined it. Okay, so these should come out at exactly 4.5 inches. So Heads up, yours might not be the right size if you were sewing with a generous seam allowance, just like I kind of was. It's only a couple of threads off though, so we're gonna keep it. It'll work. We'll just remember that if I am putting it next to a solid cut piece of fabric, that one is the true 4.5-inch piece, not this. Because there's a couple spots where it's a few threads shy. You're welcome, Terry. You are welcome. Okay. Measure 50 times, cut once. Isn't that the saying? Because I feel like that's what I'm doing here. Okay, that one's pretty dang good. 2 threads off, it's a keeper. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's something that's going to be made up in the next seam allowance anyway. It'll be all good. And it was just the one, so maybe that was the one that I had the wonky sewing on when the fabric decided it wanted to go way off in left field. Okay. Yeah, because the other 3 of them actually did need to be squared down, so it must have just been the one. Either way, this is still, like, this is not a lot that got squared off, which is not like Fat Quarter Shop's blocks. All right, let's see, what is our next step going to be? We're going to make some flying geese units with our striped fabric and that pretty blue fabric. So I'm going to set these aside. We need the rectangle units of our stripe, and then we need these. This isn't right. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Did I cut wrong? I think I cut wrong. Oh, okay. No, I did not cut wrong. I have the wrong fabrics picked. Okay, we're going to use this as the rectangle and then the squares. And they have it set up. Oh, this is going to make it so much easier. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So what I'm going to do is one side of my flying geese units and then the other side. And I want my stripes to go up and down. And so they actually showed you that they put the stripe fabric on so that it's laying sideways, and then when you flip it, it's going to go up and down. See, like that. So that's going to make it easier. It's a whole lot easier to get directional fabric that's only directional 2 ways instead of only directional 1 way. It's a whole lot easier to work with that in these blocks. All right, so somebody was asking about the diagonal seam tape. This is how I can use it. I'm going to put the point of where this square is on top of the rectangle. I'm going to put that right at my needle, right under my needle. And then this point down here where it comes like on the opposite corner, I'm going to put right on that red line. In fact, I put it just like 1 thread to the right of that red line. And then I'm going to stitch all the way down, keeping that bottom point on the red line as I sew. Now, if I wanted to I could take another seam right here so that when I cut it off, I have this little itty bitty half square triangle unit that I can use later. I don't know that I'm going to worry about that because that's such a small piece that I probably won't do anything with it by the time you size it down. So I'm just going to stitch like I normally would flying geese units. So we'll get to sewing on these. Hey Tiff, how are you feeling? And don't forget, guys, I did release PDFs last week or the week before, and I've got some more that are coming out that have FPP templates for flying geese and half square triangle units in a large variety of sizes. So if this is something that you struggle with, Fat Quarter Shop definitely gives you enough fabric that you could do these FPP and still be good. And those FPP template packs, the half square triangle unit one is one pack, the flying geese unit one is another pack, and they have a large variety of sizes, and each one is only $5. They're in my Etsy shop. And if you're a VIP member on my website, you get those for free. Ooh, Tyler says, I'm playing with my brand new baby lock embroidery machine tonight while I listen and cut out my next project. Awesome. Congrats on the new purchase. And now we're going to put these on the other side. I'm just going to take the time to line it all up. Tiffany says she's doing okay. She's going to sew a back together while she listens now that her son and Dill left. A daughter-in-law, Dill. Why did I say Dill? My goodness. Dill. Great, now we're just going to call your daughter-in-law Dill. Tiffany, I had to laugh. Zoe's not been feeling well. She's got a sore throat. I think it's just a cold and post-nasal drip. But she stayed home from school today, and she's been kind of resting and sleeping. And she came downstairs wearing her hoodie. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, that's the first time in 2 years that she's had that, or however long it's been since we discovered those hoodies, that she's actually worn her hoodie. I was like, man, you must really not be feeling good and cold. Like, so I checked her for a fever. She had a low-grade fever, but yeah, it was funny to see her. And then I, of course, remembered you and your hoodie, and even Bill in your hoodie. I did forget to backstitch these, Tanya. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to be okay with these. It's kind of hard, I feel like, finicky to backstitch on diagonal seams sometimes. So I'm going to forego it, but that's only because I'm going to put them right into the block. And as I'm assembling all of the pieces that go into the block, I'm definitely going to backstitch there. Watch, that'll end up coming out back to haunt me. So, you know, we'll see. Ooh. Y'all are talking about spiders in the chat, and I don't want to know. All right, there are my 4 flying geese units. And now we're going to make 4 more flying geese units with a different set of fabric. These, and then this. Yes? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So same thing as the other one. Probably won't backstitch on these either. Kathy says, my husband likes to take guests out of town on scorpion hunts in the yard, armed with a big black light and a stick. No, thank you. In fact, I'm going to QuiltCon in February. And let me just say, don't let me find a scorpion. I don't want to see one. I get that they might be there. I don't want to see it. Are scorpions like cockroaches? My husband says cockroaches. Everybody has cockroaches. If you don't see cockroaches, you have cockroaches. If you see cockroaches, then you have a lot of cockroaches. Is that how scorpions are in the Southwest? Oh, I did backstitch. I backstitched. Said I wasn't gonna, and then I did. And then I did again. Ooh, Karen says in February it will be too cold. They will be hibernating. Good. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see snakes. I don't want to see scorpions. No, thank you. They can stay away. Heather said, same with mice. I don't want to see the mice either. I forgot to backstitch on the start. It'll be fine. Joan says, I see you're putting the wool pressing mat over top of your cutting mat. Does it cause your board to warp? Just wondering. If I'm not using steam, not really, but I'm also not doing a ton of pressing. I'm just doing a couple of small spots. If I were doing a lot of pressing, I would take the mat and set it down, but I'm going a lot in between the two. So, Vicky says, I didn't know they had them in Florida, but I've had a couple scorpions in the house. Nope. Nope. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Don't you ruin the happiest place on earth for me. When can you reserve rooms and get tickets for QuiltCon? So you should be able to reserve rooms for QuiltCon, maybe not under the QuiltCon rate, but you can book hotel rooms for February 2025 right now if you're going to Phoenix. The QuiltCon show tickets will go on sale in August, and I behoove you, if you're going to go to QuiltCon and you're going to spend even more than a day, it is honestly worth joining the Modern Quilt Guild because you get tickets into the show for free, a 4-day pass for free, and then if you decide that you're going to take any classes, lectures, or workshops, you get a discount on that as well. And you get to sign up before everybody else. And a lot of that stuff sells out real quick. And the the annual pass for the Modern Quilt Guild is the same price as a 4-day show pass, by the way. Lorianne says, I can feel a nightmare coming on tonight. Mitzi says, I found one in the middle of our kitchen today in Northeast Georgia. I kicked it thinking it was a toy, and then it moved. My husband killed it, never saw one in the house. Wow. Angela says, my brother told me when I was little that if I went into his room, his snake would eat me, and it traumatized me for life. How rude. You poor thing. Katie says, scorpions hurt. I stepped on one once in South Florida. It's like stepping on hot coal. No, thank you. My stepson got stung by a jellyfish one year. He's nonverbal, mentally handicapped, autistic, but that boy started screaming the word ow on the beach. Ow, 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 ow. He was all right, but yeah. He let us know he was hurting. Jen says, I was stung by a baby scorpion while living in Vegas. I thought it was a string and tried to pick it up. It only stung for a bit. I heard the babies are more poisonous than the adults. Is that true? Oh, look what I did. Do you see what I did here? I'm glad I caught that before I trimmed it. Let me fix this. I'm just going to rip the seam and sew in the other direction. Did any of you catch that when I was doing it? Yeah, you're doing the wrong way. Just curious. Ooh, Terry is making Reese's bread this weekend. What is that, and how do I get you to send me some? Because it sounds delightful. Venice is... Wait, Venice not poisonous? I don't know what that means. Does that mean there's not... Like, venomous is not poisonous? Isn't that the same thing? Oh, Tiffany said babies are very poisonous because they don't know how much to release. God. Okay. Ooh, Shelby is playing in an orchestra concert tomorrow and hoping for some good cookies during the break. Me too. Also, how do I get some of those cookies? Just curious. I want all the junk food. Send it all to me. Oh, Ian said anything alive is venomous. Okay. I think he's trying to clarify what I was talking about. Aren't they venomous or poisonous or whatever? And there's probably more to that text. I just can't see it because it's off screen. I just saw the pop up. Terry says, Happy to send you a loaf, Becca. Main ingredient is melted Reese's peanut butter cups and butter. Yum. Oh, okay, so Kay's helping out. Poisonous as if you eat it. Venomous as in if it eats you. Okay, poisonous is what you digest. Venomous is what's trying to digest you. Got it. Okay. So what are we talking about? Scorpions. Scorpions are venomous. Okay. But I'm trying to think of a poisonous food. I can't. All right, let's put this block together because I think we're kind of, why does it say, oh, okay. We're going to put these hi, he said. We're going to put them together like this and make a little chevron stripe. Yeah, it's going to be great. Don't ask me why I make that voice because I really don't know. Back stitching. I'll just take the recipe. I don't need you to send me. I don't need you to send me the actual loaf. You can just send me the recipe and I'll make some. Ooh, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? It's Saturday. I'm going to go to Starbucks. I haven't been to Starbucks in a minute. And I'm going to get a nice Starbucks drink. Is Mary still here? Because I'm, like, as soon as I thought about Starbucks, I was wondering if she's still here. She might be working in her room. I know she's feverishly trying to get things packed away and set up. Or put away and set up because she's leaving a week from tomorrow to come here for almost a month. Anyway, I'm going to go to Starbucks tomorrow and I'm going to get myself a nice Starbucks coffee and a blueberry oatmeal. Yum. Can I go to bed now so I can wake up in the morning and get my Starbucks breakfast? That would be delicious. Bill said alcohol is poisonous, but not if it's offset with olive juice. And there's a joke behind that. So he's such a dummy. When we were at QuiltCon, I don't drink. I really just don't drink. Nothing against people that do. I just don't have a desire to do it. Once in a while, I'll have a drink. And when I say once in a while, I mean like maybe I'll have a glass of like Moscato a couple times a year on a special occasion. And even those, I may not even fully finish. So I say that all to say I'm going to talk about alcohol, but please know that I don't drink a lot, but this is a funny story. So Bill, when we were out for dinner, he kept asking, well, not kept asking and make it sound like he's a lush. No, that wasn't it either. When we went out to dinner, he had asked the waiter for a martini extra dirty. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, what do you mean? Because I've always heard people be like, oh, extra dirty, extra dirty. Well, he and the waiter were laughing and having a good time. The waiter was great. And he was like, oh, I got you dirty, dirty. That's what he said. But apparently it's olive juice. The dirtier the martini is, the more olive juice they put in it. I didn't know that. All right, let's see if I need to square these up. Some mushrooms are poisonous. Yes. So that should be, nope, these are spot on as they should be. Good. I'm not even going to measure the rest. We're just going to sew it together and it's going to be fine. Okay, we're going to set this aside. Oh my gosh. How many more? Wait, I have one. Okay, we're going to make a square and a square with this. 2, 3, and 4. And then I have leftovers. Did I cut too many? Maybe I did. But I'm almost done making all the little fiddly pieces to put the block together. Ooh, Vicky is loving the Starbucks spicy pineapple lemonade. I'll have to see about that because it is warmer weather. Although the past couple days it's been pretty chill. I think it's been in the 70s today. No humidity, just like completely comfortable to be out. I actually wore a sweatshirt jacket today and yesterday because I was a little chilly. Now, that being said, when I'm working from home, the desk that I have set up for my work desk is literally right next to an air conditioner vent. So I need to wear all the layers when I'm working from home. It's so cold over there. So I usually put on a pair of socks and then a pair of slippers and then a shirt with a jacket over top of it. And then I have to walk out of that room every so often because I'm sitting right on top of the air conditioner vent. And I don't dare close it because that back room has skylights and the chimney from the fireplace. And so if I did close it, it would get warm real quick. That room needs the vents open. So I just deal with it. I guess I could look to see if there are other places to put my desk in the family room, but I kind of like where it's at right now. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yep, it'll be fine. Hello, Deb. Hi, Amy. In Florida, it's going to be in the 60s, which feels good in the mornings. I wonder what it's going to be tomorrow. Ian, if you're still in the chat, I don't know. If you are, just type in the chat. But when are you letting people know about your plans to move? And when are you drawing a winner from your giveaway? Hi, Siberian Wind. I need to mail you that package. I still haven't done it yet. I am horrible with mailing stuff. In fact, I have that Purple Hobbies package that needs to go out. Maybe I will try to remember to get all of my mailing caught up tomorrow because I feel like I'm behind on that. Well, I don't feel like. I know I am, and I hate the way that feels. So Terry is letting me know to tell whoever was trying to backtack or said they couldn't backtack on a 66 to check out her channel because she has a video on it now. So there you go. All right, now that I have all the components made, we're just going to build out our block, and it's just going to be like a 9-patch. So let me lay it out. I'm just going to put this here. All right, so the square and a square is going to go in the center. And then the flying geese units are going to go on the 4 sides of that square. I like watching the blocks come together at this stage. Isn't this cool? Especially like in the camera. You can see it in the camera better than you can in person. And these are extra. So I'll put them in my scrap pile. And then we're going to put these up here so that we've kind of got this diagonal look, just like that. There we go. So we're going to sew these together, and it says, Tanya says it'll be 82 in Timberville tomorrow, so it's about 80 now. Tonight the giveaway form closes. Ian, could you put the link in the chat for your form? You guys have until 12:01, and that's probably Central Time because he's an hour behind us, so 1:01 a.m. tomorrow to fill out the form. All of the guesses are in there, so if you want to enter to win, if you want to be in the entry to win a $100 gift card from Threaded Lines Gift Shop, or Threaded Lines Quilt Shop, then you have to go read the clues and make a guess as to which state Ian is moving to. You don't have to guess the city, you just have to guess the state. There are a number of clues on the form. You only get one guess, so if you already guessed, he's going to take your first one, all the other ones are going to be deleted. Everybody that answered correctly, your name's going to go into a drawing. He's going to pick one lucky winner, and you will get the $100 gift card to Threaded Lines Gift Shop. Lily said, Mike, I have it on good authority. Ian's moving to the Glitter Island. Okay, so it's telling me to press, oh, it's a $25 gift card. I'm so sorry, guys. I said 100. It's 25. I thought it was 100. I am so sorry. Thank you for correcting me, Ian. All right, so the seams are going to press in on the top and bottom and then out away from the center. The $100 gift card that he has is going to be a giveaway that he has when he reaches 15,000 subscribers. I don't know what he's at right now, but I know he's getting close. So if you are not subscribed to his channel, please make sure to do so, because every subscriber he gets takes us one subscriber closer to giving away that $100 gift card. Okay, we're just going to sew this just like a 9-patch. And there are seams that are nesting along the way, particularly here, 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 right? So I'm going to feel that with my finger and make sure that it stays nested. And because I am assembling the block, I am back stitching at the start and end of every one of these seams. And then it says we're going to press this seam in towards the center. So I will just finger press that. We're going to grab the next one, line it up, nest the seams. And then we'll put this in towards the middle too. Finger press. Now these are going to press out away from the center. Okay, so for this one I've got 2 points that are going to come in. So I'm going to pin this to get it to line up a little bit better. So I'm just going to poke a pin through the very top of that point, and then I'm going to stab it through the point, the very top of the other point, just like this. And then I'm going to kind of shake these out to get the raw edges to line up with each other and let that pin stay nice and straight. And then clips, oh, clips, hi clips. I'll just take a clip on each side of that pin to hold that in place for me. And now I'll come over here and sew this. So what's going to happen now is, because I lined up those points, when I stitch through this, back stitching at the start and at the end, if I'm paying attention to this X intersection, I should, in theory, be doing the same thing on the underside where that point is. See how I did? Not too shabby. I'll take it. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Grab a pin, pop it through the point here. Let me show you what I'm doing. Pop it through the point there. Pop it through the point here. Line it all up. Make sure that pin is hanging straight. Clip on one side, clip on the other, pull the pin out, and then we're off to the races. That one's not bad either. I'll take it. And we'll press these seams out away from the center like the pattern said. This is going to help us nest the rows together. I am going to pull out my Easy Press pen because there's lots of bulk going on. I want to get those to lay really flat before I put the whole block together. There we go. In towards the center. Okay. Now let's do some pressing, and then we'll put our 3 rows together and our block will be done. Need a pressing pad. Here we go. I've got so much stuff that I just kind of like shove at my feet down here. It becomes a bit of a pain in the katukas because it starts falling all over. All right, so I'm sure people are going to ask me, what is the thing that you are using to press? So let me tell you, this is the Acorn Easy Press Pen. It essentially is just like a marker, but instead of having marker liquid in it, it has some starch. And so that allows you to draw a line of starch right on the seam that you are pressing to get the block super, super flat. So I've got a lot of bulk in this row. I'm going to make sure that I have it pressed nice and flat with my hands. I've got that liquid starch from my Acorn Easy Press Pen drawn on here, and just for good measure, while I'm waiting for the iron, I'm just going to trace it around in other areas too, because I can. Yeah, why not? Overkill. Okay, there, it's dried up now. Okay, so I'm going to bring my hot iron in, no steam, and I'm going to set it on top of each of those seams. And this is gonna get it to lay really, really flat. And then once that's done, I'm gonna put a clapper on top of it. Then I'll move over to the next seam. I can actually do both of those seams at one time. Look at how flat that is now. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, crisp, like butter. I'm giving it a couple of heat treatments to make sure that starch is all dried up. There we go. So that's the first, that's the middle row. So pretty. And now this one, we're pressing the seams in towards the middle. I am drawing the seam on the side where the bulk is. And then I do have some bulk here. We're just going to knock that out. Anywhere where you see some bulkiness, some unwillingness to lay perfectly flat, that's where you're going to treat it with that pen. And then we'll do one side, let it just sit on there for a minute. Yes, I pre-starch my fabric before I start cutting. I always starch before I cut. Most of the time. I shouldn't say always, because sometimes you're working with a pre-cut and you can't starch it. Let's get that nice and laid out. Carol says, thanks for the advice. I'm starting Sir Legits a lot tonight. Yeah, your Acorn Easy Press Pen and your clapper are going to be your best friend with that. There we go. Look at how flat that is now, right? Like, whew. There you go. So here is the block layout. Now my seams are going in opposite direction, so it's going to be really easy to nest them. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, I love it. It looks great. So I am going to take the time to clip where the seams are, because if I've done all this work, I want to keep it looking nice. And in the middle here, we have those 2 points again. So before I actually nest those seams, let's poke a pin through the backside of this fabric, getting the pin to come in right at the very tippy top of that point. And then we're going to put the pin through the tippy top of the other point down here. And then I'm going to stack the fabric. I'm going to get that pin to lay straight up and down. Then I'm going to put one clip on either side of that point. That's going to hold it in place. Now I'm done with the pin. Then over here, where I have these 2 blocks lined up, right? The seams are going in opposite direction from the rows. They nested perfectly. I didn't even have to fuss with it. So I'm just going to put a clip on those seams. There we go. And then I noticed this when I was sewing the other rows together, we have some diagonal seams down here. As long as we keep the edges lined up and we sew that with 1/4 of an inch, we're going to cause 1/4 of an inch to happen right here at the end of our star point. So I'm just going to make sure that the 45-degree lines, and I'll show you what I mean by that these are kind of creating an hourglass type block down here. And this is the one that was a little wonky, so it's going to be just a little bit shy, but it'll work itself out when it's sewn into the entire quilt. Remember to back stitch when you start and end this. These are the final 2 seams for your block, so this is where the back stitching is really going to matter. All right, Becca, do you have to refill it often? Will it hold any kind of starch? You can put whatever you want in there. I happen to have a gallon of the Acorn Easy Press solution, so that's what I use. But I know a lot of people use Best Press and Flatter and stuff, so that'll work too. All right, same thing for this last row, and then we'll do our final press for the block, and I don't square these up until I get to the very end. I actually leave them the way they are in my kit. So once it's all done and put together, I will take a photo of it so that I have it, and I'll probably use that as the thumbnail for tonight's video. I'll go back and change the thumbnail so people can see what I did during the live stream. There, nice and in that point. But after I take my beautiful photo, then I just fold it up very nicely and I put it back in my envelope with all of my scrap fabric and the pattern. And then at the end of the 12 blocks being sewn together, which this one's probably going to take me less than a year because I'm working on it now, and it's probably the thing that I will keep working on. At the end of the 12 blocks, then I will go back and square all of these up. I don't think it's going to take me a week. I think this is probably going to take me a few months to get through. I don't have a ton of time to sew right now, so I'm focusing just on one project at a time. Oh, come on. Wouldn't it be great if this one turned out almost perfect? I will never say actual perfect, but close to it. Can I get like a 99% on this? That would be great. Is there a non-scented starch premix that's good? I like the unscented Best Press if you're looking for something that doesn't have a scent to it. All right, I'm going to push this out and lay it, like pat it down with my hand first. Now for this one, because the block's all done, I'm actually not going to use my Acorn Easy Press pen. I'm going to give it a good dry press with my iron, no steam. I'm just going to focus mostly on where those trouble areas are. And then, this is where I will starch the block. And that's probably more than what some of you would do. I will press this down, make sure it's still flat. The seams are where I want them to go. And then I'm going to come in and press, not iron. Folks in the chat are saying if you like, Linda Gillespie is saying if you like hand starch, you could spray it into the lid and then pour it into the pen. You could do that. Yep. Folks are saying that flatter comes in unscented as well. Is there a reason you don't spray the whole piece with starch as opposed to how you are just using the pen on the seams? I think you might be a little behind because I just sprayed my whole block with starch. Why is it not good to starch pre-cut fabrics? Dawn is asking. So I did a short on this a while ago, but what happens, and I will show you, I will actually demonstrate with a scrap piece of fabric if you hold on a second. I'll show you live. It'll shrink on only two sides. So there's my block, guys. What do you think? Gorgeous, right? Let me grab, ooh, I haven't stood up for it in a minute. That was not comfortable. Let me grab a piece of scrap fabric that has not been pre-starched. That might be easier said than done in here. Because I starch everything before I use it. Okay, I want to make sure it's not starched, so we're just going to pull a fat quarter that I can use as scrap. Okay. Nope, that's not going to be scrap. Oh, this one we already cut into, so it's already kind of scrap-ish. And it'll show up on the camera. Okay, I am going to cut. My daughter used a little bit of this for a project. That's all she used. She used a little bit of this fabric. So that's why I was like, oh, I know this one will be good to use because it's already been cut into. So here I'm going to cut out a, just like a 3-inch square. Well, maybe a 4-inch square because I want you to be able to see it on camera. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut in here. Okay. I'm going to pull this out of the way. I am going to give it a dry bit of iron to make sure it's laying flat. No starch, no steam, no moisture whatsoever. Now I'm going to clean this up and make it 4 inches exactly, and you can kind of see where it is. In fact, do I have, to make it even easier? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. Is this 4.5? This is kind of easier to see, yeah? No, I'm trying to do something to make it easier to see. Do I have my washi tape, my seam guide tape handy? We'll use that. Okay, I'm going to square this up to 4 inches. There's 2 pieces off. I'm going to turn it this way. And let's just go so that you can really see what the heck I'm doing. I don't want you guys to miss this. So we're going to go back to this layout, and I am going to see if I can zoom you in even more. This is as far in as I can get, guys. You can see that it is exactly 4 inches by 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going past those black lines, and it's not coming up shy of those black lines. And if you're still not sure, here is my measuring tape, right? 4 inches on the dot. 4 inches on the dot. Now, watch this magic. I already hit it with a hot, dry iron, and there was no shrinkage. I'm going to just do this with a hot, dry iron. Yes, I did iron it. Yes, I am ironing. I'm going to prove to you that I did not warp that fabric. If I put this ruler back on here, it is exactly 4 inches. This is the 4-inch mark down here. This is a 4.5-inch ruler. This is the 1/2-inch mark. This is the 1/2-inch mark. So this is exactly 4 inches. Now, I'm going to spritz it with some Best Press. I don't think I got it. There we go. And now I'm going to come in and I am going to just press. I'm not going to iron, which means I'm just picking it up and setting it down, and gosh, I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping I can show you, but watch this be the one time that's like, oh, you actually did press that fabric with starch. I don't think I did from the way it was folded, but we'll find out. Okay. Moment of truth, you guys. Huh. Look at that. It did not shrink. Okay, what? Did I starch that before? Because I swear to you, it does. I know if you iron it, you can cause it to shrink, but I pressed that, and that is exactly still 4 inches. Wow. All right, I want to do this again, one more time, with fabric that is definitely unstarched. So we're going to pull a fat quarter that I've never worked with. Oh, I don't want to, but I want to see. I'm going to do it for the vine. I'm going to do it for the vine. Okay, we'll pull one of these. This is not my favorite fabric. And it doesn't feel like there's any starch in it. And I wouldn't have folded it that way. Somebody's saying, oh crud. Somebody's saying the wool mat holds it. So let's try it without the wool mat. Because I've had it happen on a wool mat. This is not a wool mat. Okay. Same piece. You can see I left a shadow there. Do I have a charm pack? I do. Just don't want to open a charm pack for this. Okay. Yeah, it actually does shrink. Okay, the wool mat I think it actually did a bit on the wool mat too, though I'll do another test to double check. But you can't quite see it because it's right up here. So it's just this one area. And it's only a couple of threads. It's only a couple of threads. But sometimes, depending on the fabric and what you're using, it can be as much as up to 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, It's right up there at the top. So let me see if I can show you this way. I don't know if you can see it. Now it's going to be along the side. It's right down in here. It's hard to see. It's almost negligible. Okay, one more time. One more time. One more time for the vine. People are telling me to do it with a 5-inch pre-cut. Fine, 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 fine. We'll do it with a pre-cut. Well, we can do that. That's fine. Mom will use the pre-cut. Mom likes pre-cuts. I'll just have to find something to use a pre-cut with. Okay. I think Mom would actually end up liking this one. So we're going to use this one because she will probably want to work with this one anyway. So I'll pull it out for her. Whoop. This is a pre-cut, pinked edges, which is what y'all asked for. I'm just going to pull, ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, these are pretty. Okay, I'm going to pull this one out. We're going to use that one. Let's measure it. It should be 5 inches. This is exactly 5 inches. You can see the pinked edges make it just a little bit bigger. So I am going to square it up so that it's exactly 5 inches. Oh yeah, this one's going to be a good test. I think I had starch on that before, and then I just folded it back the way it was. Because I can tell this one feels different. That one did not feel, oh yeah, yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Okay, so here we are, 5 inches, right? 5 inches. Now I didn't see it shrivel, which makes me nervous. Just feeling to make sure I did get starch on the whole thing. I did. Now, I've been criticized when I did my short. People like, you ironed, you didn't press. And that's why it shrinks. So let's press and not iron. And when I moved the iron, I definitely lifted it about a 1/2 inch off of the fabric, so I'm not pushing any of the fibers in any direction. This is Moda fabric, by the way, but that was Moda too. Okay, this definitely feels starched. Cross my fingers, though this doesn't look perfectly straight anymore, so we'll see. See what happens. Here is, yep, there it is. There it is. Do you see that right here? It is 1/8 of an inch smaller. But only on these sides, not this side, not that side. I'll show you on the mat down below since the pressing mat was the same surface. Look, look, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7/8. I did not iron, I pressed. I think this was pre-starched. And that's why we didn't see it as much. There you go. And now I want to work with that charm pack. What do you guys think? Did you expect that to happen? That's a lot off of 5 inches. So Christine, you're not wrong. What ends up happening is when you take your fabric, when you cut your fabric off of the bolt, when it goes from selvage to selvage, that's where it's going to shrivel up. So if you cut off, let's say 1/4 of a yard, an eighth of a yard, whatever, your 9-inch strip of fabric. With the fabric, you're going to lay it out on your pressing mat. You get a nice wide pressing mat that's as wide as your 44 inches of fabric. You'll be able to see this. You spritz the whole thing while it's laying flat, and you're going to see it shrinks up a little bit. Now, what I found, and this is just me, my method, what I have found is every piece of fabric shrinks about an eighth of an inch. So if you press that width of fabric yardage, that whole thing shrinks about an eighth of an inch. But if you cut it, then every one of those cuts are going to shrink an eighth of an inch, but only on two sides. So something that was perfectly square is no longer going to be perfectly square. And when you're talking about a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, an eighth of an inch is a lot. And this, we're just going to tie it all the way back to the beginning. This is the reason why when you do a quilt with die cut pieces, like cotton cuts, do not introduce starch at all. At all. Like do not starch the pieces before you work with them. It does mean that your pieces are going to feel like fabric because you don't have starch in them. You can add starch to it once you've started sewing the quilt together if you'd like. You can use the Acorn Easy Press pen or the Clover pen or whatever pen you want, a starch pen. You can use that to draw starch onto the seam, and that will add some body to your quilt block pieces. It will make those seams lay a little bit flatter, especially if you follow it up with a clapper. And it does mean that the seam allowance is going to shrivel up just ever so slightly. So if you have to rip that seam, that edge is going to have the shrinkage in it, but it's going to be in the seam allowance. It's not going to be in your finished quilt because that's what you were starching. So yes, starch causes your fabric to shrink. I am so happy that that worked out because I was like, wait a minute, did I make this up? Was I really ironing wrong? Nope, I wasn't. Nope, I wasn't. Dawn says, I'm thinking back about some of my past mystery wonkiness and I wonder if that's what's going on. Yes, I will tell you my experience. Here's my rule for success with Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Just full disclosure. If you starch your fabric, if you starch your clue pieces, you're setting yourself up for some amount of failure, some amount of wonkiness. And so if you're looking for your points to always match up and all of your seams to nest and everything to be perfect, pretty, if you starched your pieces, your die cut pieces before you started sewing, you're already starting at a disadvantage, period. Think about like when they have a square, okay, well, the two sides are going to be shorter than the other two sides. It's not a perfect square. Think about when you have a triangle. Think about when you have those bias edges. It's just what's going to happen. The second thing that I will tell you to do with your cotton cuts when they start shipping is always sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch, even if it says to sew with a true 1/4 of an inch. And my thought process is I will even go sometimes just a little bit more narrow than that, and I'll stop and measure and square up every step of the way. You shouldn't have to, and Cotton Cuts tells you you don't, and that's true, you don't. I have done several of them without doing that. But if you are that perfectionist sewer and you want absolutely precise points, that's how you're going to get it. You sew with a smaller seam allowance and square up every step of the way, and you don't introduce starch until the whole quilt is done. And then you're going to get that perfect result. Now, here's the other piece I'm going to tell you. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of that because what's going to happen is when you're sewing your clues together, you might see things that jump out at you in the moment because you're seeing this piece of the quilt. But when you put that piece into a bigger quilt that has a lot of fabric going on, all sorts of different colors and prints and beautiful goodness going on, different layouts and different elements and different arrangements, and then you toss the quilting on top of it, nobody's eye is going to be drawn to that point that's chopped off. So don't stress. Just enjoy the process. Aw. Janita said, Becca, you have a plethora of knowledge. Thank you for giving us some of it. Hoping all is well. I was late to the party. What is the quilt behind you in the fabric line? This is the 2023 Designer Mystery Quilt from Fat Quarter Shop. It was using the Sunnyside fabric from Camille Ross Kelly. It was a kit from Fat Quarter Shop. It started in June of last year, wrapped in May of this year, I think. 12 months, yeah. And June of 2024, so tomorrow, we're going to be starting the Fat Quarter Shop 2024 Designer Mystery. And to help me stay all things Designer Mystery tonight, I put together this block on the live stream. Look, I'm posing for a thumbnail. So this is the block that I put together tonight. This is for the 2022 Designer Mystery Quilt. I have the entire kit here. I haven't started it, so I felt like since I finished that one, it was time to start the 2022 one. And I am quite pleased with how beautiful this block turned out. Yeah. Linda says, Kimberly starches before cutting. Never starch after you cut your pieces. Yes. I agree. All right. Oh, Linda says, I love steam and starch. I love the accuracy. I'm going to tell you, I buy Best Press by the gallon. It's not for everybody. And you know, it's your sewing room, it's your project, it's your creativity. Do what works for you. Always, always do what works for you. Don't feel like because somebody else has a rule for their sewing room that you have to follow that rule. Follow the rules that work for you. If it means that you've got to draw your seam allowance on your fabric to get it to lay the way you want it to, then draw the seam allowance on the fabric. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's about the process of you creating something that you enjoy doing. It's not about getting the perfect finished quilt all the time. Now, if that's your jam, then do that. But I'm going to tell you, for me, this is my rule. I never used to starch my fabric. I used to just kind of cut into pre-cuts and go. And then I picked up some Best Press because I remember I was at a fabric store and the lady in front of me was raving about Best Press and she had bought a bottle of it. And I was like, what is that? She's like, it's a starch alternative. I was like, you need starch? What is that? So I went and grabbed a bottle of it and I brought it home. And nobody told me what starch was, what it did, why it was important, why it helped, none of that other stuff. I just knew that I had to spray it on my fabric before I started working on it. So I went to the store, the quilt shop, and I bought a 10-inch stacker of a Tula Pink line. It had squirrels and some other things in there. It was not a color palette that I loved, but it had elephants and squirrels, and I couldn't even tell you the name of the line. Didn't love the fabric, but it had elephants in it, and that's kind of why I bought it. I think it had elephants in it, but I bought it because it was for a quilt for somebody else, and that's what they wanted. So I brought that 10-inch layer cake, whatever, home, and I feel like it was rolled, but whatever. I brought it home, and I laid it down on my ironing board, and I starched with Best Press every single one of those squares. I didn't know that it shrunk my pre-cuts on just two sides. And so then I started working with it, and I realized that they were not, I was making a rag quilt, they were not the same size as the 10-inch backing and the 10-inch batting that I had cut for the rag quilt. They were a little bit smaller. Now with a rag quilt, that doesn't matter because you're going to have those seams exposed and you're going to cut them and they're going to fluff up and it's going to be lovely and cuddly, and that's just how it is. So I didn't really worry about it, but I definitely told the ladies at the quilt shop. And the quilt shop ladies that I bought the fabric from were like, it shrunk? Huh, that's odd. I starched it. Starch shrinks fabric, but only on the sides that run parallel to the edges. And it's not starch that does it. Steam does it. Water does it. Any moisture is going to cause it to shrivel just a little bit. Yep, S. Lopez says, I believe fabric can shrink no matter which liquid is used. Yes. Best Press isn't starch. I love Best Press and steam. They say Best Press is a starch alternative. I don't know. I just know it. I like the way it makes my fabric feel. So the other part of what I was going to say, because I feel like now I'm rambling. The other part that I was going to say is I use I got away from using it because I saw it shrink and I didn't understand what I was doing. And then also, before I stopped using it, I just kept reapplying it every time I sewed a seam. And I was getting to the point where there was just so much starch on my fabric that it was starting to flake off and it was causing a mess. I was like, okay, this isn't good. I don't want to use that stuff anymore. So I quit using it. I abandoned it entirely. Well, the problem wasn't the product. The problem was how I was using the product. So I came back to Best Press because a friend had recommended that I use it for some of the quilts that I was making, that I was going to get more accuracy if I took the time to starch the fabric before I cut it, and then kind of take my time having a good pressing system. And when I embraced that, I feel like it stepped up my accuracy game just a little bit. Now, I'm not perfect. There are points off in this quilt. There just are. I do not have perfect quilts, but I feel like I can get better results when my fabric isn't so flimsy, and that's why I starch. All right. Lori says, I wish water would shrink me. I would live in the shower. I hear you. All right, guys, it is 10:30. Oh my gosh, how is it 10:22? Wow, time flies when you're talking about starch and doing tests on fabric and making beautiful quilt blocks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, friends. I can't wait to sew with you next week. I don't know what I'm going to be working on, but I do know we're going to have the tailgate party right here before Donna returns to her Friday Night Lives with the one and only Karen Brown next Friday, June 7th. Can't wait to see you guys all there. So yeah, that's all I got for now. Thank you, friends, for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!